Hi, welcome back. Just want to say it's taken a while to make this video, too many hours. I've got buy me a coffee if you can, and share, and the super thanks. And if you can support me, it helps make these videos. When I'm making these videos, I'm not making money. I'm not getting on with the jobs I should be getting on with. But I want to make the videos because I love sharing and I love you guys seeing what I do. Anyhow, share, like, subscribe, and buy me a coffee and all sorts. I hope you like it. It's there aren't many people do what I do, the different things I do. So enjoy. Good morning. Looks like we're in for a good day. The sun's shining. It's beautiful out here. And I've got a couple of things coming to the workshop today that are sort of immediate sort out jobs. So that'll be good. Just hold it there a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it from that to this via this. So it's a long video, I know, so grab yourself a coffee or a cup of tea, your favourite beverage. If you want to skip through some of this, skip through it. I've not missed anything out. You've got the whole process here. It is a tutorial if you want to use it as a tutorial, but also if you want to get to the end and see how I finish it or a different part of it, then that's down to you. You can see exactly what it is. It's all here in one video. Right, grab yourself your favourite drink, coffee, tea, whatever. We're going to get into this. This is a Stratocaster on a Telecaster body. And this is the latest thing that they do. The Fender cut out this belly cut part. Makes it easier to use and all of that lot. So we're going to turn this over, and on the back, look, you can see where we've masked out where is going to be cut away. So that's where the shaping will start. And I've got a sort of angle between these two pencil lines at a funny angle. No dodgy corners like that. And I was thinking, could I get away with doing this on the bandsaw? Would the bandsaw be worth doing? It's just a little bit too iffy. It's a little bit risky. It's quite a bit to take out. Don't want to make any mistakes. And it's the top edge that will be seen, if only by the person who uses it. So we've got to get around this. No, not too flat, not too curvy. Just get it just right. We've just discussed this might not be a dead straight line. It might be sort of rounded so that it's more comfortable. No sharp edges. So I think that's the thing. No sharp edges. So let's see if I can set it up in there. Can I use that? On there, I think so. Let's have a go. Okay, straight into it. This, I've got to say, this is a very sharp draw knife. It's sharp to about 6,000 grit, or the Japanese waterstone. It doesn't really do green woodworking, it does dry wood, like this ash body of this guitar. So yeah, very sharp. I've got playlists on my channel. Follow, subscribe, all the rest. I've got playlists on the channel that you can see sharply. So very sharp, straight into it, and it's doing really well. Well, I've made a start. I can tell him you can't change your mind now. You're right, actually. So the important thing that I'm doing here is I'm going from the top of the body down the grain to that hollow in the middle. See it as two hills in the valley. I've got to start on the top of that hill and run down. And when you're doing wood, you'll need to understand that the grain goes in the direction similar to if you're brushing a cat or a dog. The way the hairs go back, one way it works, the other way it doesn't. So please watch the way that the blade is cutting. The idea of the masking tape was to give me some lines to work to. Now I'm working on this. I've got it in my head. The curvature, the sculptural part I'm removing from this to leave it sculptural, I should say. So the masking tape is of no importance now. There are a couple of little red dotted lines if you're on a bigger screen you might just see. But it's done its job. I don't need it there. So that can go, and now it's all about focusing on the blade coming down the grain and flattening that area there, just to get it right. And I use different parts of the blade, so look like now I'm coming down to the uppermost curvature. There's a curvature on the end of this blade, and it's very sharp at that point, and it's very fine, so I can get some really good fine detail there, whereas the middle of the blade tends to be the sharp and does the brunt of the work. Yeah, I'll use the edges just to get, there you go, look at that, just to get it really fine and really up to the line. So it's going well. I'm pleased with it. So now I'll just continue on this path. Just follow it down. So at the bottom of this valley you end up with a lump that is a bit awkward to remove. So the idea now is to go from the other side, down from the top uppermost bit on the forward end, there you go, and down again to the valley in the middle. And this valley in the middle is almost like a no man's land. I can leave a lump there and then I can split away, but at some point you sort of stop going down the valley and you start going horizontal from both sides, and that then needs to focus on, and I'll show you what I'll do with that in a bit. You'll see how I get round that bit. Quite a quick way of getting around it as well, rather than trying to infinitely go smaller and smaller with the Drawknife blade, because I could spend hours and hours on this and I don't want to. And don't forget, you can like, share, subscribe, and put something in the comments if you think it's good or bad, or cheers. Bit closer, bit better for you. Turn the volume down a bit. As I said earlier in the video, if you want to watch the full version on my other channel, Jam73E, there's no ads, there's no editing, you'll be able to see the basic version of this video. Now look, I've got to say, the next couple of minutes my hat will be in view. Sorry about that. I just don't want to cut any of this out because it would just end up so flicky. And look what I'm doing. Appreciate what the edge of this blade is doing and where I'm directing the cut. That's the top part of the blade I was on about earlier. Those ends of the blade are very sharp. They don't get used that often, but when they do get used, it's for detail. It's for fine detail and making sure I get up to the line and it's nice and crisp. Sorry, hat. You can hear what's going on. I'll turn the volume up a little bit. As I say, it's only here for another minute or so, my hat. But look, see that area of land in the middle now that's developing? We'll take some of that away in a minute. There you go. See, take it away. And I can take that away when I can see both ends of that area of land. So I can see that if it does split down there, it's going to break off at the other end. You wouldn't just do it if you knew it was going into the body. I wouldn't do it then. Great hat, Jamie. Well done. Look, it just shows I'm a woodworker making videos, doesn't it? I'm not a tech guy. I'm a woodworker trying to make a living. Trying to make videos for you guys. Slow down when you get into the detail. Makes such a difference. Just slow it down. And I can see I just need to put a bit more emphasis on the detail around the outside edge, and then carving that body away a little bit flatter. Anyhow, this clip's nearly done, and then there'll be no more hat. Look at that, and see how I'm drawing it on the skew, so it isn't, the blade isn't dead straight, it's coming in at an angle. That makes such a difference. Skew the blade. It's looking good. There you go, the hat's gone. So now I'm at the forward end of the body, and I can go, you can see the red dots going down the back of the body, and I'm just going to, because it's less to take off from this side, I've just got to be a little bit slower, a little bit more careful. I've got to say, don't go out and buy yourself a Drawknife and attack your guitar. I've been using Drawknives for 30 years plus. They do take a bit of getting used to. There are some people who are brilliant at doing all sorts of things, but they get one of these in their hands and they go useless. So don't please attack it unless you know what you're doing. Get some experience. If you're afraid of doing it yourself but you want it done, give me a ring, give me a call. My details are somewhere around here. You'll find them in my channel, and I'm on Instagram and all sorts. And I could do it for you. You can come and watch if you want. Come and film it if you want. I've not done one of these before, but you know something, it's not that bad for someone who's been sculpting wood for 40 plus years. It's not bad at all. And I can't get over why a guitar company would let this go on for so long. It is sort of ridiculous that you've got this plank of wood digging in your body. No. They should have done this years ago. So, yeah, if you want yours done, give me a bell and you can come over to the workshop and we can sort yours out, which will be great because I actually enjoyed this. Another camera angle. How good am I to you guys? Right, now look, this is a 4-minute clip, okay? 4 minutes from this view. You see the hat a couple of times, but not for long. This is the slow it down bit. This is the take it easy. I get to that middle land there and I reduce that in size. By the end of this clip you'll see that reduce in size. I get nearer the red dots and all of that. This is where you do really have to slow it down. Now I'm gonna liken, if you've ever done some wood turning, you'll know that you rub the bevel, and the idea is that when you wood turn, you rub the bevel of the cutting edge against the timber, and then that helps you direct the cut edge. This is very similar. It's the same sort of thing. As you can see now, I'm going to pull that down there and focus on bringing that rounded edge closer to that middle bit of land. Now look, I can only do those bits when I see that open end. Remember me saying? So yeah, I can only do that. And as I say, don't attempt this if you're new to, and people that just file them. Honestly, guys, you must spend hours on them. I sometimes turn the blade round. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Every time a shaving comes off, I expose another piece of timber that I then have to judge what that timber is doing. Where's that grain going? So this is why I'm doing a voiceover. Because I couldn't do this and talk about it at the same time. There's so much concentration going into it that no, this is a better way of doing it. You're getting you're getting a tutorial. Look at that. Look how the knife is coming down at an angle again. I don't even know I'm doing this half the time. Japanese term wu-wei for when you do something automatically without really thinking about it, and that's what's going on here. I'm understanding the grain. I'm seeing what's going on. Say hello to the hat. It's looking good. It's looking good. And that's it. You just rub your hand across it and those shavings just fall away, which is great. It's quite enjoyable. Right, back onto it. Bringing those cuts down to the middle. Just lifting them to take them away. And I can feel down there it just needs to come a bit further round. And if I go too far with the blade, it actually sticks in and then leaves a mark. That hasn't happened yet. But you get to feel where it's right, and then you just have to say, nope, I've got to go from the other side there. So these shavings are getting smaller and smaller. It's working pretty good. Right, let's have a quick look. And it's not looking bad at all. It's not looking bad. It's good. Thanks for watching. Like, share, all the rest. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Cheers. Better? Enough? More?
Oh, it's just spot on nice.
Is it?
It really is.
Do you need to sit down and try it or not?
No, because
it's standing up.
Standing up.
It's standing up.
Yeah. It's taken that bulk, that bulk out.
Yes.
And I can roll it. When I'm playing it...
You haven't got as much to... Yes, it can roll on your tongue.
Yeah.
Rather than the edge sticking your rib cage.
You've got it. Instead of me having to arch forward to look what I'm doing, I can bring it up like that. That is fantastic.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Makes such a difference.
Oh yeah.
Oh great.
Oh yeah.
Right, I'll finish it off then. You think that's enough?
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. It's taken. I say, if you look at that edge, where it just
it would have been
90
here.
degrees.
So
you haven't got that 90 degrees. It's gone.
Right. So this is a BASTARD file, bastard file, and I've dropped the volume down a bit so that I can talk through this. Now the volume, the sound to microphone is a bit quicker. I'm a bit quicker than it is picking it up, so it can look as though I'm filing the wrong way. But basically, again, I'm filing from the top of each hill, if you see them as two hills with a valley in the middle, down to the valley. So don't think I'm filing uphill. And sometimes I use the file backwards, so that it's actually cutting on the downstroke, but backwards, so that it's not taking too much off. Now, you could have skipped over this bit, but actually, if you look at this now, or if you look at this, what was it? About a minute ago, and then you look at the end of this 4 minutes, you'll see just where the detail and the effort is going in. So look at that around the edge now, around that bottom edge. It's all slowly getting to the red dots, and it's coming together. Bottom of the valley, yep. This is my way, so I'm using the curved side of the file now in the bottom of that valley. This file is curved one side, flat the other, and then as I go up onto the top, I'll probably do it before you even notice it. I'll spin it round so that I'm using the flat part of the file. Happens quite quick. The hat has made a welcome return. Hello, hat. But it's getting there. And look at the outline already. The outline around the bottom is looking pretty good. I'm pleased with that. It's coming together. And those top parts, they're almost like the points of a bottom lip coming onto the cheek. They're really, really, it's important you get these bits right. So I slow down towards there. The middle bit, that valley, the round part, hollow it out. Does that look better? Does look better. Right, we're into the last 30 seconds of this clip. So I'm looking now at making sure that the curvature works from the top edge down onto the body, but also the curve flows from the valley going up towards that top right. It's important that it works well. So any sort of flat spot, they've got to go. It's just going to be rounded and smooth. It's going. I quite enjoy this process. That looks all right. So I've stopped and I've looked at it. And this is what you need to do. You need to stop, move around the piece, see what looks right. Find elements that you're not quite happy with, and it's the transitions. It's that look. It's looking at the transitions. So now I'm spotting this because I know that the next tool I'm going to use on here from the file will be a card scraper. So it's about minimizing these transitions from one file movement to another, removing steps, and cleaning the grain away if the grain is a little bit rough, needs tidying up. So that has to be done. Card scraper. So this is pretty sharp. If you've not used a card scraper before, then they're great. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually blending, so where there might be a couple of file marks, and there really isn't that many, while there might be a couple of file marks onto the varnished surface, I will go over with a card scraper just to almost thin down the varnish to so that it blends a little bit better around that edge. That edge is, I don't know why that edge is bothering me so much, but I think it's because it's a beautiful edge. It is a beautiful edge. And then onto the top edge there. And I recall that as I was doing this, there was a little bit of dirt on the top part of the varnish that I just carefully scraped away. Let's see if I've actually filmed that. I should have filmed it. It's all been filmed. But yeah, card scrapers, very sharp, very good. And then from this I'll go to a little bit of sandpaper in a minute. Well, less than a minute. So as you can see, it doesn't take that long. It really doesn't take that long. And it's worth doing. There you go, just to get some of that edge right. So Ian's going to finish this himself. So I've just got to get it, I mean, this is sanding to shape. This is card scraping to shape. He's going to do all the finishing on it. So it's just about me making sure that I'm happy with all the transitions, because the better I do this, the easier his job is. The much easier his job is, and the better it'll look overall. I don't really want to put my name to something I'm not really happy with, so I want this to be as perfect as I can. And that's that little bit at the top that just needs tying. Yeah, it's good. You can see some of the shavings coming off. It's great. This is the part of the process that a lot of people don't really talk about, and we've got 2 minutes 20 seconds here, and I want to talk to you about it. I mean, I could fast forward all through this, but actually this is real time. The sandpaper is 200 grit. It's used 200 grit, so it's probably a little bit finer than that, and it's about sanding in different directions. So look at the directions I'm sanding in. I'm not necessarily sanding with the grain, I'm sanding for shaping. And that's what on my notes here, it says shaping sand, and that's what I'm doing. It's getting rid of any fine junctions between where the cabinet scraper might have left two edges and just a very fine line. But I'm sanding in all directions to make sure this is smooth in all directions, because that's essentially what we need. And this sanding will again be going onto that finished, the varnish part. That top corner there, I'm just making sure that it's sanded and blended in. That's essentially what I'm doing. But you can see, as I say, I only spent a couple of minutes doing this, and I'm now beginning to go with the grain. And I'm not so worried about shaping. There is something there bothering me. Don't know what that was. There is, I mean, the thing is with ash, you do have summer and winter growth, and the winter season, you know, the dark lines that you see, and sometimes they can be harder, and because they're harder, they don't sand as easily as the softer white parts, which is the summer growth, which is fast. So wood can feel different like that, but you know what? This time is up. So yep, that's done. So the next thing to do after this top corner there is go on to raise the grain, which a lot of people don't do. So next step, raise the grain. This is just a damp cloth, or in this case a damp sponge. And what I'm doing is I'm going over it. I'm looking for the shine as well to see how the wood is shining and reacting. I'm looking at the cells and the pores to see how that is. And I'm also now drying it off. So what this will do is all the small fibres that have been sanded down will lift up, they'll spike back up, and they will dry off in that position, sticking up spiky. And then we de-nib. Once it's dry, they'll stick up, feel rough, we de-nib that. And hey presto, by the time you've got your hot air gun out, it's nearly there, it's nearly dry. So I'm just going over on the lightest setting to make sure that the moisture has evaporated, it's come out of the wood. I don't want it staying in there. So we're just warming it through, speeding up the process. Hot air gun, nearly finished with now. So that's it. And you don't want to get it too hot. Warm's enough. You don't want to get it too hot at all. But what it will do is it'll help with when you varnish and seal it. You don't want any moisture in there at all. So I'm not going to film the rest of it, this sanding down for it. I spent the next 3 minutes going over this with finer sandpaper. So it's less... you don't need to see it all. Again, I've got on here my notes, it is a blend sand, and I'm just making sure that I'm happy with it. And then we can move on to the next bit. Right, that's it. And I've sanded it to get shape, not sanded it for finishing. So I haven't gone down super low. But is that? Well, actually, it's a little softer there, which actually I think looks better. That looks machine done. And that's the difference between machine and hand. This looks right. That looks right. That looks right. Coming in there and then back around and onto that surface. That feels good. There isn't a hard point there. So that feels good. That works. Let's go and get Ian and see what he thinks. You're on. So you're not too bothered about the colour or anything. Oh blimey, that looks...
That's literally just the first.
Oh, that feels great.
Yeah. So I rubbed it down with some fine grit sandpaper, and that's just got the first first coat, literally of...
It's a primer coat.
The primer coat, yeah.
Yeah.
But of course the thing is, it's not. I'm not too precious about it because it's at the back of the guitar.
I know, yeah.
You know, so the
front... But actually, if it's got a gloss slippy finish on it, is that good for you? Or I mean, that's still smooth anyhow, isn't it? That feels...
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. You could get them like this for years, but it's always been from the custom makers.
Oh right, okay.
Whereas the original people who made it, Fender, until recently would never do it because of its being so traditional.
It is it isn't. I don't think it's just the tradition. I think they know it's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it's going to quadruple the time and effort that goes into making the body.
Exactly.
Because if it's done by machine, it's still going to need working to make it good enough to finish.
Yeah.
So they're not daft.
Yeah.
Really, they just didn't want to do the work.
But
I think they use that as an excuse.
The nice thing is...
That's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, the nice thing is now, whereas when you normally play it, I'll come round here, it's like that, so it sticks. So because you've got that there, you have to look over to see where you are. Now I've got this, I can bring it towards my
and
body.
I see your wrist going against, or your arm just pulling against this, because I've noticed some people take round that off as well, don't
That's
they?
it, all the stratificate,
Some people take away a chunk on
That's
here.
it, yeah. I don't need that. I mean,
No.
obviously there's no strap on it because I haven't finished the glossing, but it's just so much more comfortable.
Good.
Instead of being that block,
Yes.
that squared off block,
Yes.
and looking down, you can just basically bring it back to yourself. So you know you can look down with strings, know where you're playing, and it's made it a fantastic instrument.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I'm well happy with it. Seriously
Great.
happy.
Cheers, Ian. Thank you.
Pleasure.